Hello, beautiful souls. You are now watching Ride Along with Me with Chris Cypher. And as always, this is your host, Chris Cypher. How's it going? I've been well, trying to take care of myself, take some time for my family and my mental health. It's really important, in my opinion, to make sure to have some time for yourself to rejuvenate and just to refresh your social meter and build you up. Especially if you're an empath, as I am. And an empath is just, I like to describe it as an energetically sensitive person. Maybe, maybe you feel how other people are feeling. You're really good at picking up on situations, reading situations, like subtle energetic cues. Or you're just really in touch with your emotion. That's also a sign of an empath. I grew up I didn't even hear the word like empath until I was pretty much grown already, or at least like 18, 19. And it's something that really kind of just stuck. I've always felt like I've been energetically in tune, just relatively, throughout my whole life. And I didn't really have much people to talk about it with. My parents, they loved me and stuff like that, but just never really understood me. I kind of was just viewed as over emotional, dramatic, and ADHD, heavily ADHD. And so that just kind of resulted in a lot of aspects of myself that I feel like I neglected because I just had no idea about it. And that's why I kind of try to say it's important to know yourself, to get to learn about yourself, because if you're an empath, there are some things that you should know about being an empath. It's first off, it's not an easy job, but you get what you pay for, and I do like to think that maybe we enter into some kind of soul contract before we live, and then we're allotted for this time and kind of have a lesson plan, relatively speaking, of what we're gonna kind of do and achieve, and the end goal of our life before we're born. But that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say is it's definitely a blessing. It is a blessing, but also can become a burden if you don't know how to regulate your own energetic system. For example, being empathic, which is just like, verb tense or whatever of empath. But you tend to be able to pick up on your surrounding energies. Now, this can be a good thing in the sense of recognizing your surroundings and maybe like noticing if somebody is suspicious, or if they're carrying negative energy, or they're lying to you, or if there's a fight about to break out. You kind of can sense the tension in the room, and you have an opportunity either to stop it before it happens or leave, if stopping it is an option. And but it also can be a negative thing, though, because you pick up on those energies, and if you're not careful or disciplined energetically, then what's going to end up happening is you're just going to absorb those energies into your own energy fields and then become like your surroundings, which is usually what we try to stay away from, is becoming products of our surroundings, because I don't know whenever you're going to listen to this, but just, generally speaking, our society is not the ideal replica for what we want our energy system to function as, in my opinion. I'm not saying that that's actually, the fact. I'm just saying from what I see. But so there's that. You don't want to just be reactive all the time, and because then you're not in control of your own self. You're allowing your environment to control your inner workings, and that becomes a problem on many cases. You're just tossed around by everything around you. And in my personal experience, just some things that prevent that is really, first off, having a grasp on your emotional state at its current point, being like, just know you, get to know how you feel, just kind of really pay more attention to that, just when you're at home relaxing, doing your thing, like vibing, like, how do you feel? What are your general thought patterns look like? How is your energy? How does it feel just generally? So then you can use that as a control, or as like a basis of just general experience, so if you're feeling different, or if you start feeling like you're taking on some of those energies around you, then a red flag will pop up and be like, hey, I'm feeling different. I'm not feeling calm. I'm not feeling relaxed. It's all just a game of trying to find out how you are normally, so then you'll recognize an abnormality and introduced into your energetic system, is what I'm trying to say. Also, it's just to recognize, like, it's good to, like, care about people and try to help people and want to be there for someone who's in pain, and that's fine. It's good to care about people. It's commendable to want to help people, but you also have to realize that it's not healthy to have a friend or a person around you that always just complains. It's a drag, and there should be a healthy dynamic. I'm not saying that it's bad to pour your heart out to your friend, but if you have a friend, or even if you're that friend that always complains, like, just about everything, and always just kind of like a bummer, like, what is the quality of that friendship? What are you getting out of that? And what are they contributing, or what are you contributing to that relationship? So I think at the end of the day, like, aside from family, we can't really choose our family, but we can choose our friends, and I think we should really choose wisely, because as an empath, no matter how much control you have on it, it's still, how much control you think you have of your own energy, it's still necessary to be aware of your energy, the energy of your surroundings, because it still does play a big part in your daily life. You know, you shouldn't be subjecting yourself to situations or circumstances that have dense negative energies, even if you think that you have a really good grasp on your own energies, just because that's not the smart thing to do. I don't think so personally. I try to make sure that my situation is going to be one that is that of, building up, and I want to keep the people around me that are also going to build me up, and I build them up, and we are strong together. I don't want to have friends in my friend group that just have a super negative view on life. I mean, things are bad, yes. It's obvious. You can look around and see that things are really, really bad. But that doesn't mean you have to have a negative, victimized mentality about it. Because then, you're playing the victim, and you accept defeat, and nothing can change. Woe was me, this happens. Everything's happening to you. And then you just become another variable, instead of the equation, the whole balanced equation. And I think that's one of the things about being an empath as well, though, is that being, energetically sensitive, you also have an inclination. You're also inclined to work better with energies. You can, you're more adept to energy manipulation, as well as manifestation and just stuff like that, because the reason, if you're an empath, the reason that you feel so in tune with those energies is because you're a good radio, and you have a good antenna for the energies. But that means that your energy is strong as well, even though you might not know how to use it, or even know the extent of the full situation. If you're an empath, you are stronger than you probably ever fully really recognize. And, that's a good thing, because, hey, strength, but also, ignorance killed the cat. They say it was, curiosity, but it was just ignorance. Curiosity was the reason that the cat left the house, but ignorance was the reason that it died. And it's okay to leave the house as long as you do it mindfully and consciously. But I'm trying to stick on the topic here. But I was just talking about, okay, so how I said I was just growing up, I was always not always, but for the most part, just a majority of my life I spent being picked on, or kind of singled out, because I was just very emotional. People call me over dramatic, drama queen. I've always just felt really in touch with my feelings, and people say that's feminine, but if somebody says that, I don't really think that they have a grasp on what is actually masculine and what is actually feminine, and then why would it even matter in the first place. But so I've just always had really big feelings. I still do. If there's something I'm passionate about, my heart just on fire for it, and I get amped, and I've learned how to direct my energy in such a way that it moves me toward the goal that I'm trying to achieve, opposed to maybe either getting burnt out or overwhelmed or being too much about it. You can redirect your passion so that it's a driving force of motivation. Because I think, passion is definitely one of the strongest energetic sources there is. I think that I've put it in the same category as sexual energy, because it's like just that deep desire of like passion, like a deeply rooted desire. And if you can direct that properly, then you can do whatever it is that you want to do with seemingly with ease. It's just a big thing to realize that not a lot of people around. This took me like years and years to not only realize, but just come to terms with the fact that if you're an empath, and especially if you're deep into it and all, there's gonna be a lot of people that just don't understand you, and it really stinks to not feel understood. I think that's just like a base, and like within the basic human psyche, we just at our core all just want to be understood and acknowledged and loved, like to know that we matter and know that someone cares about us, like and preferably like many people. But unfortunately, just seemingly where we're at in the culture and stuff, it just doesn't seem like many people are there yet. Like, no offense to them, like if you choose to live in ignorance, that's fine, but it can be unfortunate for the upcoming empath. Just to always feel like you gotta over-explain yourself, or just feel like you can't really relate to your friend group, or just general, like people in general. I always felt kind of like the odd one out. Like, I didn't look down on like other people, like in my mind, like like, oh, you peasants. But I just saw, like, even when I was a kid, like in preschool or first grade, like I've always been self-aware, and that is a quality of an empath, is being self-aware, especially from like a younger age, and then like on up, becoming more self-aware and seeking to discover all these things. So I would kind of look around at the other kids, like I would see them as kids, not in a sense like that I'm grown and they're kids, but kind of just in a sense to where I felt like I just couldn't relate to them. Like, I've always felt like relatively grown up, even though I know like I've been immature for a really long time. But I'm just now like working on my maturity, but in a sense, like grown up, like I had like a decent grasp like on my consciousness, and like would think about my thoughts, and just notice a lot of things that a lot of the other kids around me kind of was oblivious to. And that's common when you're an empath, and it can be hard to not be able to have somebody really be able to be like, hey, yeah, no, I understand, like, really what you're saying, or I understand you, I feel your pain, because I've been through that. But it does get better, and you know, whether you meet somebody that does understand or not, I think the more that we understand ourselves and the more that we really are like self-acknowledging, the less we'll desire to be understood, the less like we'll feel the need to find somebody that gets us, because then I think that just stems from the whole like stigma of not knowing yourself. So then you want somebody to say, hey, I know you. So then you're like, oh, okay, cool, I'm not just like an enigma. But like over the years, you know, the more I've just learned about myself, the more definitely better it has gotten, just as far as like the deep desire to feel understood has just dwindled away over the years, because I'm knowing myself now better than anybody could or has ever before. I think some things that people neglect is just themselves, you know, like you have to be your best friend first. You have to love yourself first. You have to understand yourself first. And like, anyway, how could you expect anybody to understand you when you don't even understand yourself? So it's just like trying to explain a math problem to somebody when you don't know how to do it yourself. It's kind of just gonna, or like telling somebody the definition of a word that you don't know. It's just not gonna work out. So that's a piece of advice of mine, you know, get to know yourself, because it does make that a lot better. And as far as like the feelings go, like I know when I was young, especially, just feeling all those feelings, like sometimes it just would get, it's a lot to be, you know, emotional, and it's even more if you are reactive, you know, if you're emotionally reactive to your circumstance and you have negative circumstance, or like just even in this negative world, then it's worse. So I'd say like for the emotion, kind of you gotta really develop a sense of emotional confidence, and that comes from, first off, just from emotional awareness, you know, just like I said before, getting to know how you feel, not just generally, but like generally, specifically and generally speaking, you know. But not just know how you feel on a regular basis. Really get to understand and visualize how you want to feel on a regular basis. That's something that I don't really hear talked about. You know, like what is your ideal emotional state look like? And you know, and just imagine that, visualize that in great detail. You know, like, hey, okay, if I was in my mind, you know, perfect, how would that look? And then just like work backwards from there, and then forwards to where you want to be, backwards from there to where you are, then from where you are to where you want to be, and like, you know, kind of reverse engineer. Anyway, you know, like for me personally, it's like I want to be mindful just throughout the day of my thoughts and feelings, you know, regulating my energy, be kind and patient, loving, calm, gentle, still. Like, just, think about it in detail. Like, even, a practice for that I like to do would be maybe even go as far as go into different scenarios in your mind. Like, okay, so let's just say I'm mentally where I want to be is perfect. And imagine you as that, and then put that perfect you in your mind in a scenario that maybe currently would upset you. Not an ideal scenario. I can't really think, I don't know of any examples at the moment, but I figure you kind of like get my drift. But like, how would you react to that if you were perfect? Maybe you have somebody that you have disdain between the both of you, and imagine your perfect version of yourself meeting them. Like, how would the interaction go? What would you say? What would you do? How would you feel? How, just like things like that. And that really helps. That's really helped me just, first off, like, figure out how I want it to be, because it took me longer than I thought it would. I'd be like, yeah, I know what I want. Like, everybody likes to think they know what they want. But then when it comes down to the actual action of getting that, or or if you just like thinking about it, even you find that there are more gray areas than a lot of people realize. And you just overlook those types of things. It's not bad, but it's just something common that I've noticed, especially within myself. And that has helped me regulate my emotions for sure. And just taking a step away and realizing that it's okay to take a step away, like from social interaction, within reasonability. I think it's fine. Like, not saying you should seclude yourself, but it's definitely fine to take time for yourself, and sometimes it's necessary, especially as an empath, because, like, for me, like, interaction after a certain point just becomes not like monotonous, but it just becomes a lot. If I can get away and rejuvenate, even just for a little bit, or a weekend or so, if I'm having a rough day, I'll just step away for as long as I can get. Like, if I can only get a few minutes, just breathe, disconnect, reconnect with the divine and the absolute, and then I can enter back into my situation with more clarity and a better attitude and a better sense of control on myself as well as the situation. And that's all I got for this episode. I really hope that it helped. If you watched it to the end, just hit that like button and subscribe if you like my stuff. I got a lot more stuff like this coming out. Maybe some more in-depth looks at things, but I have reached my destination. And just to close here, it's not easy growing up in this world as an empath, but it is worth it. And if you can realize your gift and utilize it, then there's nothing you can't do. And your life is going to be amazing, and you're going to help so many people. You're going to be who you want to be. So just find that out. Find out who you want to be, how you want to be, and then start moving towards it. Just for all the empaths out there, or maybe you're with an empath, or if you watch this video all the way through, you're probably an empath. But and if you think Like, am I empath or am I not an empath? And you probably are. One, and maybe you just like doubt yourself. But usually, if you think you are, then yeah, probably. But psh, uh, yeah, that's all I got. I don't know. Just love yourself, work on yourself, protect your energy. It's really important to make sure that you protect your energy, and just consciousness, emotional awareness, energetic awareness. Yep. Thank you very much. Bye.